So we definitely live in very interesting and strange times. We have these quote unquote fireballs everywhere, stories of dolphins, all other type of different events going on, missing scientists who are connected to a certain Air Force base, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is supposedly connected to all types of supernatural events, UFOs and things like that. On top of this, supposedly we also have big feet scattering all around Ohio as well. So there is definitely a lot going on in every different corner. But things have been weird for quite some time. Some people believe it started in 2024, some believe it was 2020, but a lot of people believe things started to get really weird in 2012. And so that really begs the question, did something happen in 2012? Did the world end in 2012? Did we shift realities in 2012? Whatever may have happened in that year, later on in this video, I will show some numbers, I will show some charts that something may have indeed happened in 2012. That no matter what may have happened, 2012 was the beginning of a negative time period. But when it comes to the actual topic of something cataclysmic happening in 2012, now I don't know if I believe this topic or think this is a real thing, but I have to say it's something I find to be fascinating. I find to be a very interesting topic. What is even more interesting is that you'll find many articles online asking just that, did something happen in 2012 and was CERN involved? Matter of fact, even the fact checkers had been released when it comes to this subject. Like this article right here from PolitiFact, CERN scientists admit they accidentally ended the world in 2012 while performing experiments into the Higgs boson particle, and of course they rated that as false. The article continues with how people on social media are stating that when CERN discovered the God particle, that a black hole consumed the Earth for a split second without anyone noticing it. A November 18th Instagram post reads, according to this famous research society, the notorious Mayan prophecy came true, and reality as we knew it actually ended in 2012, all thanks to CERN and this discovery of the God particle. But this USA Today article says that the only thing CERN was doing with the God particle was discovering what came before the Big Bang. And if you really think about it, when CERN was putting all their efforts into finding this God particle and they were excited upon finding it on July 4th, what big breakthrough happened after this discovery? Now, for those that have been subscribed to me for quite some time now, you'll know that anytime the fact checkers get involved in anything, I think there's something more to that subject. With that being said, I found a very interesting video from this individual right here, Mr. 420CT, and his video really made me think.
Everyone wants to know what the hell happened in 2012 because deep down, we all felt it. Something changed. That was the year CERN turned on the Large Hadron Collider, and they smashed particles together trying to find the God particle. But what if they did more than that? What if in that moment they ripped a hole through the very fabric of our reality? There's a theory. A young physicist once said that when they found the Higgs boson, it might have caused a quantum implosion, collapsed our original universe, and some of us, just a few, shifted into the next closest reality. Think about the last 13 years. And yes, 13. That number means death and rebirth, cycles ending, dimensions folding. The Mandela effect, not just false memory, it echoes from the world we lost. Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia. The Monopoly Man had a monocle. Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. Except he didn't. And now, the Pentagon confirms UFOs are real. Government whistleblowers saying we've recovered non-human biologics. That would have been laughable in the old world. But not here. Because this isn't the same reality anymore. And you can feel it. I feel it. Nothing's quite right. Everything's just slightly off. We didn't survive 2012. We were rerouted, pulled from the wreckage of one reality and dropped into another. The truth is, we're not supposed to be here. But we are. Now ask yourself, who the turned the machine back on and why?
Now, the thing is, CERN initiated the Large Hadron Collider in 2008, but the interesting part happens to be this would be the first time we would hear about the Mandela effect a little less than a year later when this lady, Fiona Broome, in 2009 asked the question, didn't Nelson Mandela pass away in a prison back in the 1980s? So there was no such thing as a Mandela effect prior to this, but he is right. CERN did initiate also in 2012 when they were looking for the God particle, and they happened to find it in 2012. And it's so true. Outside of the Mandela effect, outside of Mandela perhaps passing away in prison, or the Monopoly Man having a monocle, or Fruit of the Loom having a cornucopia, something just feels weird. Something just feels different. And I don't know if it was due to something happening in 2012, 2020, but even when it comes to the topic of aliens and UFOs, not too long ago, we would never have this topic, especially with the government. They would always say it's swamp gas, weather balloons, just doing their best to make you believe that you are just a kooky, crazy conspiracy theorist just talking about it. Then, out of nowhere, in a very short period of time, aliens, UFOs have become in the mainstream, where it's now an acceptable talking point by the government. Almost all of these events that are playing out, everything that we see and hear in the news feels fake, it feels scripted, and not just that, but time also seems to be moving very, very fast. Time moving faster is so noticeable that even scientists and researchers have to come out and give a BS answer, and their answer is that the Earth is rotating faster, but I don't think many people believe that. But going back to something happening in 2012, like I said, you'll find many articles online about this topic, like this article right here from The Intrinsic Perspective, and this article is titled, "What the Heck Happened in 2012?" This website mentions how every decade feels different, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and not just with technology, but there's also a psychological and cultural impact as well. Like back in 1968, there was a cultural tipping point with the Tet Offensive, the MLK assassination, the Robert Kennedy assassination, and the Civil Rights Act, among others. A lot of people also have a great fondness for the 1980s as well, which I will go ahead and get into later in this video. But the author of this article is quoted as saying, when it comes to what would be the next year to have this great tipping point, the answer is actually really clear. For whenever I see a graph plotting out something by years, my eyes now jump to a certain date, 2012. And more often than not, there is evidence of some kind of fulcrum there. Others have also started to take notice as well. 2012 was a tipping point year. They're going to say that 2012 appears to be more like 1968 in that it marks changes primarily cultural and psychological, not economic. And that if you look at charts about people's psychology or culture in general, like how people use language, you often consistently see a major shift around 2012 or shortly thereafter. But the shift we experienced was not a good shift, and this person lays out multiple examples. For example, this chart right here, which shows that as of 2012, there was a stark increase of people ending themselves, and a majority of these people were teenagers between the ages of 10 to 19. The article also goes on to say that between 2012 and 2015, the number of teens failing to get 7 hours of sleep per night increased by 22%, ultimately meaning that by 2015, a full 57% more teens were sleep deprived than in 1991. But I feel like that's a lot of us, not just teenagers. I'll see multiple videos of people asking, am I the only one that just does not sleep well anymore? And I myself, I wake up between the hours of 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. and I have a hard time falling back to sleep. I can't remember the last time I got a good 6 to 8 hours of sleep. But it wasn't just teenagers that were impacted by 2012, it was also adults as well. Reading this part of the article right here, when it comes to mental health, there was a 29% decrease since 2009 between the ages of 15 and 30. For the ages between 31 and 46, there was a 11% decrease, and for the ages of 47 plus, there was a 2% decrease since 2009. And you really have to ask yourself, what were really the biggest differences between 2009 and 2012, between 2010 and 2012, and you really can't think of any, like something that would like greatly impact society. Even right down to education was down. As of 2012, you can see right here where the chart drops when it comes to reading and mathematics. This is not just in one particular country, but they're taking charts from multiple countries. But one country that they do measure when it comes to birth rates was the United States. And they also go on to say that while there are, increases and decreases when it comes to birth rates throughout the years, when it comes to 2012, it just kept declining. It should have went up in 2012, but instead it just kept going down the hill when it comes to birth rates. Even right down to entertainment, movies, this chart shows how around 2012, the proportion of movies that are remakes or parts of series having effectively plateaued since around 2000 began to climb to new heights of unoriginality in 2012. There is even a chart on this article right here that shows the number of United States pedestrians being hit by cars started to decrease, yet for whatever reason when it hit 2012, the numbers greatly increased. So I thought at this point maybe this person has something against the year 2012, that maybe they're pulling these numbers out of their behind, because it seems like everything that impacts our waking and not awake lives has gone for the worse since 2012. So I went to the DMV website, and it's true, 2012 represented the highest number of people being hit by cars over the last 5 years in the United States. So this person is clearly doing their homework. These charts are true. Something did indeed happen in 2012 that represented a tipping point of our daily lives. And how many times was it put out there that the world was going to end in 2012? For example, the Mayan calendar prediction and so forth. This would also be the same year that CERN was messing around with the Large Hadron Collider, and they supposedly said they found the God particle on July 4th of all days. Maybe the world really did end, but not in the way that we think, not with explosions and chaos and so forth, but maybe it had something to do with reality, because these numbers, these charts do not lie. And it wasn't just CERN that was active in 2012 conducting experiments and finding these particles. There was also the United States Fermilab, which is basically also CERN. This video comes from Beauty Mert.
Who really owns CERN? This is wild. You know, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. It actually comprises 24 member states, right? Israel, admitted in 2013, is the only non-European full member, by the way. It's actually run by 23 member states, like it says here, each with 2 delegates to the CERN Council. These being the member states right here. But did you know that the CERN Council is the organization's highest authority and is responsible for all major decisions? It actually controls CERN's activities in scientific, technical, and administrative matters. I did a little digging into the council, and I just wanted to see, well, who's the president of the CERN Council? And wow, look who the president of the CERN Council is right now. Being from where? Well, I can't really say that I'm surprised, but Rabinovich is a very interesting man. He was actually a postdoctoral fellow at Fermilab. Fermilab is actually a national accelerator laboratory located near Chicago. And as you can see, Fermilab's main injector is actually 2 miles in circumference. It's actually the laboratory's most powerful particle accelerator. As you can see, Fermilab aims to become a world center in neutrino physics. It is actually the host of the multi-billion-dollar deep underground neutrino experiment, now under construction. Now, Fermilab has a very interesting history in itself. But then you just so happen to look into the other ongoing neutrino experiments, which are Icarus, Nova, and then Minos. I thought to myself, well, I remember the Minos experiment, but I can't remember where I actually heard about it. Well, let's throw it back to 2012 real quick. Well, Minos actually received the last neutrinos from the Numai beamline at midnight on April 30th, 2012. It was upgraded to Minos Plus, which started taking data in 2013. The experiment was apparently shut down on June 29, 2016, and the FAR detector has been dismantled and removed. Now, there's something that's actually called the Large Hadron Collider that was built by CERN. I'm sure everybody knows what that is by now. And of course, the Higgs boson was discovered in 2012 at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, which is a fundamental particle that gives mass to other particles such as electrons and quarks. 2012, you say? I'm not going to talk about 2012, but I'm sure everybody remembers 2012. I'm pretty sure that people are starting to realize the dots that I'm trying to connect here. I can't say too much pertaining to this topic on TikTok right now. I'll probably do a deep dive just to provide some clarity to everybody on X instead, so I can really say what I need to say. Who really owns CERN? This is wild.
But CERN, the God particle, and this experiment being the reason why everything feels so strange as of 2012 is just one theory. But it's not just 2012. Some people out there believe that something big happens every 12 years that changes reality. This individual right here, the Dammit Man, he does a good job explaining this theory called the 1988 anomaly theory.
Last September was the first time I had ever heard of the 1988 anomaly theory. And if you're not aware of what the 1988 anomaly theory is, then you're in for a treat. The theory goes as follows. In 1988, a catastrophic event wiped out humanity, causing the universe to reset and rebuild reality. And wouldn't you know it, this event went unnoticed by the public. I said this was going to be fun. The theory states that this event fractured the timeline. And when it fractured the timeline, it gave birth to something new, something we all hear about all the time, and that is the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect comes from the 1988 anomaly theory. Now, people are said to experience inconsistencies with their memories because they're recalling fragments of their memories from the pre-1988 timeline. And this is also why the resurgence of the 1980s nostalgia, all the movies seem to be geared towards the 1980s, the Ghostbusters, they're bringing out He-Man again, all these things. You walk into a toy store, all the 1980s toys are in the toy store. What is up with that? It's because of the 1988 anomaly theory. Every single person is going to be saying the same thing. I don't remember that. Well, nobody remembers that because this was a timeline reset. Wait, you believe this? Not saying I believe it. What I'm saying is that it is consistent with some other things. It's consistent with another theory that every 12 years, something major happens to cause another timeline reset. And it may not be as big of a reset as the first one, but it just might. 12 years after 1988, we had 2000 and we had Y2K, another timeline reset. 12 years after that, we had the Mayan calendar and the birth of the everyone is dead theory. You can look that one up or I can talk about it again. 12 years after that one, we have 2024 and holy shit, that's this year. Wait a minute. Are we ready for another timeline reset in 2024? Maybe, maybe not. But this 1988 anomaly theory relies heavily on quantum mechanics and quantum immortality, many worlds theory, timeline resets, yada, yada. So right up my alley. So if nobody noticed the 1988 cataclysm and nobody noticed the 2000 and the 2012 one, will we even notice the 2024 one? And my answer is probably not. But if we do experience anything, it will be more glitches in the Matrix, more synchronicities, deja vu, deja reve, Mandela effects, so on and so on. Because this theory relies heavily on the fact that we live in a simulation. So yeah, it's right up my alley. 1988, 2000, 2012, 2024. The truth may be hidden, but the pattern is clear. The question is are we ready for the next reset?
For quite some time, not only on this channel, but on my other channel, Minutes of Horror, but it seems like somebody has finally captured a white one on camera. And I'll get into why this is very interesting after I play this video clip from the paranormal chick.
We have an interesting sighting. This is actually coming out of Massachusetts and captured by a witness who was driving down the road and saw what appeared to be this glowing unidentified object in the sky. Now, we have dubbed these the octopus or jellyfish UFOs, but yet we have no explanation for them, and these things are now being seen all across the world. But again, we don't know who it is, or what it's doing. Take a look at this. Tell me what you see. I did zoom in to see maybe if there's a string attached to it, possibly a kite, but I don't see anything. Tell me what you think.
Is that in the sky? What the is that, bro? I'm just saying. What the is that? In the sky. What the is that, bro? I'm just saying. What is that?
This is the very first video that I'm aware of anyway that we would see one of these white ones up close. Usually it's the black ones that are up close and look very similar to what's known as a octopus kite. That's why you have a lot of people saying that these are just kites, because octopus kites exist. That is the excuse. When they're just floating in the skies and people zoom in on them, the excuse happens to be they're just a kite. But during the California wildfires, these were seen all over the skies, the white ones and the black ones, and somebody during that time just happened to zoom in on one of the black ones. And you have to remember that this was during a time where the winds were very, very high. And not only that, there was a massive fire breaking out, so nobody is flying a kite during this time.
What about something strange in the sky? It's above the fire right now in Santa Monica.
It's a kite.
It's a kite?
Yeah, it's a kite. I can see by its shape. It's a kite.
There's the fire.
And it's spreading.
Trying to determine what direction it's going. What the hell is that?
Yeah, it's very bright. Actually, I don't know what that is.
It's not a kite. It's not. It's just flying around.
Maybe a big old bird trying to escape fire.
What is that?
Whatever it is, they may. Oh, yeah, that's a kite.
It's not a kite. Kites are not gonna just fly away. It's moving. There's the fire.
That's a siren. That.
So yeah, his son thought it was a kite, but I guess he realized that given the setting and given the winds, no kite could be able to sustain themselves like that in those winds. And during the LA fires, the winds were anywhere from 80 to 100 miles per hour. These things have been appearing more and more ever since the April 8th solar eclipse, and it's not just people randomly capturing them, but it's also news and media that are also capturing them on camera as well. But given the fact that they have been appearing a lot, I'm not really getting a good feeling about this. They could work like some kind of harbingers of doom, maybe some kind of Mothman. But talking about these black flying things and the April 8th solar eclipse, like I said, one of the first times these appeared was during the April 8th solar eclipse, a day where many of us thought something big was going to happen, and I still believe that something big happened in the form of a ritual. Well, it looks like there's going to be another big solar eclipse that will take place on August 2nd, 2027. Scientists and researchers are saying that yet again, this is going to be another rare celestial event, as this will plunge most of the world in darkness for about over 6 minutes.
Okay, so scientists have now come out confirming that on August 2nd, 2027, the Earth will go completely dark, and we're talking about for 6 minutes and 23 seconds, where there is a total eclipse that they are considering a rare celestial event. It is so insane to me how we can't predetermine tsunamis like this, can't determine hurricanes like this, can't determine earthquakes, tornadoes, anything else, but they know for sure that this is going to take place on this specific date. Do you find that a little suspicious? And they're calling it a rare celestial event. But is it just me, or does it feel like we're consistently having rare celestial events? Quite literally every couple of months, if not every couple of years, we have eclipses. It feels like these things used to happen seldom, if ever, when I was growing up. And now all of a sudden, there's always some type of event happening. There's always some anomaly with the moon or the sun, some type of solar flare. It's just happening more and more often, which makes it feel a little less special. People are absolutely underwhelmed and unimpressed. But let me know if you've heard about it. If you haven't, mark your calendars, August 2nd, 2027. Go ahead and look into this, save this video, come back, let me know what you think. Per usual, all alleged. If I got anything wrong, go ahead and enlighten me in the comments, but keep it cute, okay? But anyways, I'll be back with more updates, so make sure you like, follow.
That video comes from Tea with Pravi. Now, there are back and forth articles. Most of the articles I'm seeing are saying that it's going to be Europe, Africa, and parts of Asia that will be plunged into darkness for 6 minutes. And then you have some articles out there saying that it's going to be the entirety of the world, including North America, South America, and so forth. But who really knows? But she is correct. We are seeing a lot of rare events lately, not just celestial ones, But what about all these rain events that are currently taking place, these weather events where they're constantly telling us, oh, it's a lot of first. A 1 in 1,000 year rain event that has happened across multiple states, if not multiple countries, in the span of a couple days. And also, who really knows what they plan to do on August 2nd, 2027? Don't forget all the articles that came out that the United Kingdom planned to block out the sun with something called Satan.
You spot for me what you think might be wrong with this picture. So that photo was taken in October of 2019 by a real estate agent in Rogersville, Missouri, trying to sell a property. What is known about the house is that whoever lived there before, they had recently passed, and taking pre-stage photos of things that were going to be loaded out so they could stage the home for sale. While they were in the basement, the real estate agent remembered this really bizarre feeling coming over them, and they left the house abruptly only to look at the photos after that they had taken. In the basement, behind that couch, it is undeniable that looks like a person hiding behind the sofa. At first, when this came out, a lot of people were like, no, it's like pareidolia, like it could be an item, it could be a piece of furniture, it's an illusion, right? This is the former homeowner who had recently passed at the time the home was for sale. Even though people have attempted to sharpen this photo, it is still difficult to say if this was maybe a squatter or this is something else caught on camera. You spot for me what
Video comes from Creep Time. Now I have a guilty pleasure of watching videos about old Zillow listings, creepy houses on Zillow, and a lot of these are very strange. And at first I thought that may have been like some kind of statue or a bust, but I can't deny it. That really does look like the original homeowner. This next video comes from the Paranormal Sleuth, and let me know what you hear.
Just a moment, I'm going to let you hear an audio clip that was submitted to me by one of my followers. This lady works from her home as a customer representative for this company. This day started out like all the other days. She was just answering calls, helping people, and out of nowhere, this demonic voice come through the line. And to make it even creepier, the person on the other end did not hear it. But the company she works for, I guess they're able to monitor the phone calls. They reached out to this lady to make sure she was okay because they heard it too. I want you to listen closely. And I'm going to tell you in the comments what she thinks it says. Her name is Donna. Tell me what you hear. Now let me know in the comments. If you've ever experienced anything like this, let me know about it. And if you have any evidence you'd like to share, my email's in my bio. Check this out.
What's the name of the town?
Now, me personally, I heard Donna Beware. Some people are hearing Donna, some people don't hear anything, but I hear Donna Beware, and that's very eerie. Something like this has happened to me twice in my life, and I'll actually make a video about that. I did make a video about that once before, about one of the older homes I lived in, about my father picking up a phone and hearing nothing but static, but he did hear voices on the other end. And the thing about this phone that we had that was on the wall, we had absolutely no service provider, and just one day out of the blue, it started to ring. But yeah, when it comes to the Paranormal Sleuths video, like I said, I definitely heard Donna Beware, but let me know what you heard, even if you did not hear anything.
What's the name of the town?
Currently being recorded.
On March 9th, this TikToker posted a video from her Ring camera of a woman acting incredibly strange and clutching something in her bag. And this would turn out to be one of the most disturbing Ring doorbell videos I've seen. But before I explain everything in full, I'll let you see the video first. Take a look.
How may I help you? I can't hear you.
Hi, are you aware of me coming by today?
No, who are you?
Oh, I'm Joy.
Okay, and who are you looking for?
Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I probably got the wrong house.
Yeah.
As you can see, she's acting incredibly odd and standing in place for long periods of time, and viewers would later discover that this video was of Rhonda Polynice, whom just days later would be caught on body cam during a welfare check for her son, Ramil Peer, who hadn't shown up to school in weeks. And during this encounter, she acted very nonchalant about the whereabouts of her son until eventually allowing them inside, where unfortunately the police would discover the body of Ramil at the hands of Rhonda during an exorcism, claiming he was possessed. Here's a short clip of that encounter.
She was just trying to pull up a picture of her ID and then gonna go inside so we could at least. He's in it? That's what she said.
Rhonda would eventually confess to taking the life of young Ramil, which makes this Ring video even more disturbing, knowing that it was only days earlier. And what many people don't know is that she had a TikTok account, and in it she described her troubles with her ex-boyfriend, as well as her rough upbringing. But this clip I found was one of the more disturbing videos taken from her social media. But let me know, what do you think?
How the saying goes, if you want something done correctly, you have to do it yourself.
This news story was indeed very sad. This woman that you see on camera here, her son was missing from school for quite some time, so police go to do a welfare check and come to find out when they enter the home he is deceased because she smothered him, and she says she did so because she was performing an exorcism and trying to rid him of demons. This actually happened in Florida not that long ago in St. Lucie County, and this Ring camera makes this even creepier. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.